Hello, my dear bachcho, and welcome. I know your exams are right here, and you're all studying so hard. So let's do a super quick revision of a really important chapter in civics, power sharing. Come on, let's make sure you absolutely ace this one.
Okay, let's jump straight in. A question I get all the time is this. Ma'am, if we share power, aren't we just splitting it up? Doesn't that make the country weaker? It's a really good question, and honestly, a bit confusing. But trust me, by the time we're done here, the answer will be crystal clear. To get to the bottom of this, we're going to look at two stories. The story of two small countries, Belgium in Europe, and our very own neighbor, Sri Lanka. Both had a mix of different people, but they handled it in completely opposite ways. Their stories are going to show us exactly what happens when you share power and what happens when you don't.
First stop, Belgium. Now look at this mix. You've got 59% of people speaking Dutch, 40% speaking French, and just a little 1% speaking German. But here's the twist. In the capital city, Brussels, the whole story gets flipped. 80% there speak French and only 20% speak Dutch. So the Dutch are the majority in the country, but the minority in the capital. This little detail is super, super important, so lock it in your brains.
All right, now let's hop over to Sri Lanka. The situation here is quite different. As you can see, there's a huge majority of Sinhala speakers, a whopping 74%. And then you have the Tamil speakers at about 18%. So, you see, not a close contest like in Belgium. Here, one group was way, way bigger.
So, Sri Lanka got its independence in 1948. And with such a massive majority, the Sinhala leaders felt they could pretty much run the country any way they liked. And this, my dear children, is where things started to go very, very wrong.
They followed a policy called Majoritarianism. Star this word in your notes, it's a definite exam question. So what is it? It's basically a my way or the highway approach. It's the belief that the majority community should rule and can completely ignore the wishes and needs of the minority. The majority gets everything, the minority gets nothing. Simple as that. So what did this look like in real life? Well, look at this timeline. In 1956, they passed a law that made Sinhala the one and only official language. Tamil was just ignored. Then they started giving special preference to Sinhalas for university seats and government jobs. Just imagine, your language is suddenly not official. You're not getting a fair chance at jobs or college. The Tamils started to feel like they were being pushed aside in their own country. And the end result? Absolutely heartbreaking. The distrust grew so much that it exploded into a horrible civil war. Thousands upon thousands of people lost their lives, and the country's progress was pushed back for many, many years. And it all happened because one group refused to share. So sad. Okay, now let's rewind and go back to Belgium. The leaders there saw the same kind of problems brewing between the Dutch and French speakers, and they thought, nope, we are not going down that road. They chose to be smart about it. Instead of majoritarianism, they chose the path of accommodation, another superstar word for your exam. Think of it like adjusting in a shared room. You make a little space for your friend, they make a little space for you, and everyone lives happily. It's all about respecting each other and finding a way to live together. So how did they pull this off? Well, their plan was just brilliant. Let's look at the 4 steps. First, they said the main central government must have an equal number of Dutch and French ministers. Fair is fair. Second, a lot of power was given to the state governments. Third, for the tricky situation in Brussels, they created a whole separate government, again with equal representation for both sides. And fourth, this was pure genius, they made a community government that would look after culture and language for each group. So clever. And the results of all this smart work? Total success. The country stayed peaceful, united, and stable. In fact, it was so successful that when all the big countries of Europe created the European Union, they looked at Brussels and said, that's a place of unity. Let's make it our headquarters. How cool is that?
Okay, quick pop quiz for you. What's the main difference we saw? The one big idea separating Belgium and Sri Lanka. I'll give you a hint. It's those 2 big words we just learned. Think about it for a second.
I bet you got it. It's simple, right? Belgium chose accommodation, which means respecting everyone. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, chose majoritarianism, which means the majority forces its will on everyone else. This is a perfect point to write in your exam answers, by the way. So it's pretty clear, isn't it? Sharing power is the winning formula. But let's dig a little deeper. Why is it so good? There are 2 main sets of reasons, and they're really easy to remember.
First, there are prudential reasons. Don't worry about the big word. It just means practical or sensible reasons. It's the smart choice to share power because it reduces fighting and keeps the country stable, like we saw in Belgium. And second, we have moral reasons. This is about what's right and what's wrong. Sharing power is the very soul of democracy. People have a right to have a say in how they are ruled. It's simply the right thing to do.
All right, we're on the home stretch now, Bachom. We know why we should share power, but how do you actually do it? Let's quickly go over the 4 main ways. This part is a 5-star must-know question for your boards, so ears open.
First up is horizontal sharing. Think of a straight line. Power is shared between different parts of the government that are at the same level. A perfect example is our system in India. You have the legislature that makes the laws, the executive that carries out the laws, and the judiciary that protects the laws. They all keep an eye on each other, making sure no one part becomes too powerful. This amazing system is called checks and balances.
Next up, vertical sharing. Now think of a ladder. At the very top, you have the central government looking after the whole country. One step down, you have the state governments, and right at the bottom, closest to the people, are your local panchayats and municipalities. Power flows downwards, from the top to the grassroots.
Third, you can share power among different social groups. Remember that genius community government in Belgium? That's a perfect example. In India, we have a similar idea with reserved constituencies for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. This makes sure that everyone has a seat at the table and a voice in our democracy, especially those who have been left out in the past. And last but not least, sharing power among political parties. You know how sometimes after elections, no single party gets a clear majority? So 2 or 3 parties have to team up to form the government. We see this all the time. We call it a coalition government, or as we all like to say, a khichdi sarkar. This ensures that power doesn't just stay in the hands of one single party.
So before we finish, let me leave you with a little puzzle to think about. If it was up to you, what would you choose for a country with lots of different people? A safe system with fixed rules to guarantee peace, like Belgium did, or an open race, where anyone can win, but things might get messy? There's no right or wrong answer, but thinking about it will really help you understand this chapter.
And there you have it. Power sharing, done and dusted. See, not so tough when you break it down, is it? You are all so smart, and I have full faith in you. Keep up the amazing work, revise well, and go and rock your exams. All the very best, my butchin.